Sup dudes, so today I have a review for you on The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. This is the second book in the Cormoran Strike series. As far as I know, that's what it's called. This is a follow-up to The Cuckoo's Calling. The Silkworm begins not too long after The Cuckoo's Calling ends. It's very evident that Cormoran Strike's popularity as a private investigator has increased a fair amount since he solved the Lulu Landry case. Cormoran is approached by a woman named Mrs. Quinn to help find her husband, who she believes has run off to a writer's retreat because he is an author and he has left the family a few different times just to sort of recollect his thoughts for writing purposes. She wants him back because she needs him to help take care of the family, and she is also in need of some money. Cormoran, who has a lot of cases to handle and wouldn't normally take the case, kind of feels sorry for her. He accepts the case and figures it'll be something really easy, just track the husband down. Case closed. The husband, Owen Quinn, is not at the writer's retreat, can't seem to be found, and then actually turns up murdered a little bit later on. This obviously complicates things a bit. Owen Quinn is an author, and he has recently finished a manuscript which has a lot of sort of slanderous, scandalous things that he writes into his story about people that he knows in the publishing industry. Therefore, there are a lot of potential murderers, and this makes things quite interesting. With the introduction of all of these potential murderers, you can kind of see how this book is elevated a bit more than The Cuckoo's Calling. I thought the murder and the entire plot was a bit more complicated, and although a little bit harder to follow, definitely made the murder harder to solve, harder to figure out personally, not that I'm ever good at figuring them out in the first place, but it also introduced us to a lot of new characters who I always love to meet because J.K. Rowling is so good at writing characters with all of their little quirks and mannerisms. It also gave us a chance to learn a bit more about Robin. I felt with The Cuckoo's Calling that was sort of establishing characters and also learning a bit about Cormoran, where The Silkworm, we learned a lot more about Robin, and she's awesome. There was one particular scene, for those of you who have read the book, the driving scene. Robin is a complete badass. Loved it. Although I loved The Cuckoo's Calling, I do think the murder in this is more interesting. It's different because it has to do with the publishing realm. I feel like the murder of celebrities is talked about a lot more in murder mystery novels, whereas the murder of an author and sort of delving into the publishing industry, the underbelly, the ugly side, is never really discussed, at least not in any big book that I've ever heard of. So bringing that world into this novel, I learned a lot more about the industry. As we drew closer to the end of this novel, I still didn't know who the murderer was. With The Cuckoo's Calling, it sort of narrowed it down. This one just kept introducing more and more people that could have been the culprit, and I just had absolutely no idea by the end. Not to say I was shocked, but I was definitely interested in seeing how it all came together just because there were so many options. I know a lot of people really loved Silkworm, and even more so than Cuckoo's Calling, but personally I think I liked The Cuckoo's Calling better just because it pulled me in a bit more, maybe because it was her first book in the series and I was really interested. The Silkworm was still really strong. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. This one, still a fantastic plot, but I just didn't feel that love that I did for the first one. If you are someone who enjoys murder mysteries, definitely pick this one up. You don't have to read The Cuckoo's Calling first, but it does help explain some of the things that are referenced in this, and you also understand the characters' choices a bit more if you read the first one. For those of you who have read The Silkworm, feel free to let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Better than Cuckoo's Calling? Not as good? Are you looking forward to more of the series? Because I definitely am. As always, all of our links are in the doobly-doo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.